Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go. We going out blazing.
Let's get hunting.
This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if I make the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it goes strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with power plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Eric and Josh on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Picking the players, they all know what time you can't make up your mind, and just go with your gut. Fantasizing Sasha Cloud, Gabby Williams said watch your mouth. They 1 and they 2, I play the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them in, we cashing them. Let's fucking go, we about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go, we going out blazing. This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
We going out blazing.
Let's get hunting.
This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks.
All right, what is up, crew? It is Tuesday, August 2nd. We got a 4-game slate today. Really excited about. So let's get hunting. Get with it right away. How are we doing today, Eric?
Doing much better, man. Getting back into the swing of everything and just ready to kick off this Taco Tuesday.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. I know you've been dealing with illness lately, and yeah, hopefully get you feeling better and ready for this week. Because next weekend is the last weekend of WNBA regular season, right?
Yeah, I believe so. It's crazy to think that we're already coming up to the end of that and getting ready for football season right around the corner.
Yeah, I have to totally change our mindset and game plan and strategy, but it's been a lot of fun with WNBA, so I hope we finish strong. And this week is pretty jam-packed with games, so and pretty big slates for WNBA, so I'm excited about it. Good way to kick it off this week with these 4 games. Now, 3 of these 4 games start all at the same time at 7 p.m. Eastern, so we're gonna have to really crunch out our cards right from the start and before lock, because the 4th game starts 9 p.m. Eastern, so not too long after the first 3 start. So gonna have to get your cards in and ready to go before lock for sure for all the games. We'll let people trickle in, then we'll catch up with chat. But let's just go ahead and start. We'll start first with Phoenix at Connecticut. This is a 10-point spread in favor of Connecticut. 166-point total. I've been on the fence with this game. I've had kind of like nightmares about it and thoughts that it could blow out because we know how Phoenix can be on the road with their shooting. And a lot of it's going to rely on obviously Skylar and Deanna to carry the load and get the scoring done. These teams have played once already. It was a good game. It was in Phoenix. Taurasi had a real massive ceiling game. She was 6 of 12 from 3, 32 points. I went back and watched the game, and Courtney Williams pretty much was on her the entire time, and she just had her way with Courtney, posting her up, driving by her, draining threes over her, finished with 32 real points. And that's a huge game for her, probably one of her best games, and yet Phoenix still lost. That just goes to show, like, this, man, Connecticut is obviously a powerhouse. They have the Twin Towers down low. They score all their points in the paint, and they'll hammer it home. And they're playing really well as of late. I think they're like 7-3 over the last 10 games, and they're coming off a crushing loss on Sunday against Chicago. Lost in overtime by 3 points. It was a great game, back and forth to the end. So that loss really hurt them because they had not beaten Chicago all season, and they were so close to doing it at home in Connecticut. And now they probably are going to take some of their frustrations out on Phoenix, who just came off a really bad loss to New York. I believe they lost by 20 points to New York, and that was an important game because New York and Phoenix are fighting for that last playoff spot. So that has to be very discouraging for them. And now they have to go and travel to the East Coast and Connecticut and face a really, really stout team who's probably hungry after that defeating loss in overtime. Vegas agrees with this 10-point spread that it has blowout potential, and I'm going to lean that way, but there's so many good props that could turn to gold if this game can stay somewhat close to the end. So I think you're gonna have to play both scenarios. I think you might have to play a card, hoping that it stays close, and then play some blowout cards, or just fade if you think it's gonna blow out. But yeah, I mean, starting with Phoenix, I think what stood out to me, and I think might be blowout proof because she could get it done in 3 quarters, and that's Tarasi's 2.5 turnovers. Last time they played, even though she had a great game at 32 points, she still had 5 turnovers. And, if they're trailing and playing from behind and Diamond is ruled out again, and she's going to have to, carry load, shooting, and ball handling even more so, it just increases the chance of her causing turnovers and trying to force plays, especially if they're trailing majority of the game. And we've seen it time and time again with her. She'll try to make and force plays and just make really errant passes. And yeah, she'll turn it over at a high rate. I mean, I've seen her make 3 turnovers in 1 quarter. So I think it's more safe in a blowout game theory script. So I'm not too worried about the blowout with that prop, and I really like it. She is returning back to Connecticut. She played her 4 years of college basketball there, obviously, and really had a successful college career there. But I think, I just think the game script favors her forcing the ball, the issue, and leading to turnovers in Connecticut. They are first in opponent turnover percentage, so they are causing the most turnovers. So this sets up really nice for her to turn the ball over. And if you look at the advanced data here, Courtney has a 96 defensive rating, Heidemann has a 96, and Bonner 97. That's really stout perimeter defensive ratings. So they can definitely cause her problems, even though she gave Courtney a hard time. That was in Phoenix, and we know Tarasi shoots much better in Phoenix. Now she's on the road. So I really like that 2.5 turnovers, one of my core plays. And then another one I wanted to call out is Sophie's 19.5 points rebound. She had some spike rebounding games, a stretch of games, but lately she just hasn't been getting done, and that's because Petty's, snagging boards, and Turner's starting to get back to her rebounding ways. And we know Skylar is a solid rebounder as well. I just don't see, with Connecticut being first in rebound percentage, they're the best rebounding team. I just don't see her getting 5+ rebounds, which she's going to need to clear that, because I feel like, she's probably going to score, anywhere from 12 or 10 to 13 points. So I like that 19.5 PR. And she's going to have her hands full with Alyssa Thomas, which I went back and watched that game. She was trying to guard her the best she could. I mean, she was just getting abused by her, got into foul trouble, and then eventually fouled out. Because they're asking a lot from Sophie. They're asking her to cover these bigs down low because Tina Charles is gone. And she's trying her best, as you can see with her black eye. But it's just a lot to ask against this huge Connecticut front court. And I think she's just going to exert all her energy on defense, and it's going to really affect her scoring potential and rebounding potential with all that energy going towards defense. And I mean, I think the only thing is that she can get hot from 3. That would be the only concern to go over this prop. Because if she makes like 3 or 4 threes, then they're kind of in trouble, because she can pick up 3 or 4 rebounds. But I'm pretty confident on that under. And then it's Skylar's birthday today, but it's a really tough matchup. If you think it's going to stay close, I could definitely see taking her points, because she's going to have to carry the load for sure, especially on the road. What are your thoughts on those props? And was there any others you get on? And do you think Skylar, the birthday girl, can carry the team?
Yeah, I like that call with Sophie going with her under on the points and rebounds. We've seen that, they recently bumped up her rebounding prop because she had a couple of those spike games, and not only the rebounding, but the points and rebound prop also has kind of come along with that. And this is not going to be an easy matchup between, as you mentioned, the Twin Towers up front, plus just general size advantage that Connecticut really has on a lot of these teams outside of Heidemann and Williams. But even the two of them aren't going to be, pushover defenders by any means. And I'm actually surprised to see that now Connecticut jumped out to number one and created turnovers. Seattle was holding on to
Mhm,
that for quite some time. So
mhm,
Bonner and Alyssa Thomas are really getting it done down low, and we've seen just between that entire front court from Connecticut, they're going to make things really difficult. And just to kind of, I guess, throw a little and one with Sophie there, I do like her 1.5 turnovers as well. She's going to get a lot of down low, just small time. I don't think she's going to have the ball in her hand a lot, but she's going to have enough of potential rebounding opportunities to still be alongside. Um, Brianna, Alyssa Thomas, and even still some shadows of Bonner in the background. So there's plenty of chances for them to create turnovers with her and more or less just push her out of the game. Turner's going to be a little bit more of a stout defender for Phoenix here, and we'll probably end up playing, 33 minutes, assuming this game can even stay remotely close here. But Petty, or not Petty, Sophie, she was almost a non-factor in this last game, and unless she's really going to get hot from three, I think I like the call with going the under on the points and the rebounds there because she's really going to have to get hot in order to carry that weight. And I mean, you're asking for probably four plus 3-point made. That's going to be a tall order, especially if she's having to defend so much between on both sides of the ball. That's really going to gas her out. So like that call there. Birthday girl, Skylar. I think if you want some of that, I wouldn't be surprised if she got over 20 points, but this is gonna be a real tough matchup. And she got ejected last game too, right?
Was it at the end because she played 38 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was at the end. It was one of the two of them. I believe it was Skylar though. She's been having a little bit of fits here and there, and Connecticut's definitely going to be a team that's going to slap back. So if
Yeah.
we get in any kind of early foul trouble here, she's probably going to have a mental game, and you could see her check out and just be like, you know, chalk this one up for the loss, and I'll go
Yeah.
enjoy my birthday elsewhere.
Yeah, she was ejected in that LA game. What was it on Friday Thursday night? I know, yeah, I
Mm,
knew she was ejected from that in the third quarter. Yeah, she definitely has that tendency to get ejected. So, and yeah, you're definitely right about Connecticut. They will push your buttons because how physical they are.
yeah. So, we could get surprised here with Phoenix and them keep it close, but they've been playing so many games as well in the last couple of not even the last week, honestly. This is just going to be tall order for them on the road, and don't feel too good. I do like the turnover with Tarasi props though. She's going to be having the ball in her hand a ton, and they did confirm that Diamond was going to sit tonight, so her usage in minutes should be pretty sure up.
Yeah, yeah, and I like your Sophie want to have turnover call too. If you are worried about her catching fire from three, which like some of the best defenses can account for. If you're just making your threes, you're making them. So if you're worried about that, then I like that as well. And like you said, down low, like Alyssa Thomas and Bonner forcing turnovers. Brianna Turner's want to have turnovers could be in play, but she just doesn't touch the ball enough. I feel like as much as Sophie, like you said, she had 2 turnovers in that game. And it was kind of a weird game for her. She only had 1 rebound, which is probably why Sophie had 5 rebounds in that game. I don't see that happening every single time, so I'd say it's higher odds that that flips to today, but we'll see. Turner's gonna have her hands full boxing out the bigs, that's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Phoenix is dead last in rebound percentage, which we'll get into when we move over to Connecticut.
Yeah, honestly, just taking a couple of these light props here, low bar, they expect a blowout, or at
Yeah.
least a good 10-point difference by the end of the game here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of the blowout, this is like just, the way she's been playing, how aggressive she's been. If you go back and watch that game on Sunday and just the last stretch of games with JJ being limited, Alyssa Thomas has just really carried the team on her back. Super aggressive. I mean, like taking it all the way court from one end of the court to the other, scoring so many fast break points. She's doing her little hook shot from basically the foul line,
Yeah.
even more so. And yeah, she's just filling the stat line. Perfect spot for her going against players like Sophie, who have a terrible defensive rating. Sh Sophie has a 102 defensive rating. Petty's a 101. Skylar's 102, and obviously Tarasi at this stage of her career is rock bottom at 106. Um, I mean, this just sets up real nice for her. And I mean, her assist potential here, and especially her rebound potential, especially with JJ not being 100%, not playing full minutes. Um, like I said, Phoenix is dead last in rebounding, so her 7.5 is very, very tempting. I'm wrestling between that and her 5.5 assists. If I was going to take a prop for her, but I am concerned, really concerned about the blowout. And we went back and looked, and if she does not play more than 25 minutes, she's only cleared this like 1 out of 4 games where she's played less than 25 minutes. It was like it was a game, I forget who it was against, but she played 20 minutes and she had 6 assists. I mean, she can rack up assists in a flurry. We've seen it like in just a quarter, but that is a lot to ask. That's like a ceiling anomaly game where she's just distributing it out and everyone's hitting their shot. So I love it. I mean, it's these are spectacular props. It's just I'm gonna put a warning on our rank list that this has high blowout risks and that could really affect these props. What is your mindset on that? And then the other one, it would be Courtney Williams rebounds too, because Phoenix takes the second most threes behind New York. That's going to lead to a lot of long rebounds. Courtney thrives in that. We've seen it when she plays teams that shoot a lot of threes. She just racks up the rebounds. Um, and she's a very good rebounding guard, and which is why it's juiced to 4.5. But great spot for her rebounding potential here. But I definitely think she's going to need at least full game into the fourth quarter to clear that. If you're worried about the blowout, I think one thing you could do. She didn't clear it the first time they met, but you could look at her first half props. We all know she's super efficient in the first half. Tends to ball hog a lot in the first half. And this has been a prop we've targeted all season long. We liked it more when it was at the 8.5 to 9.5 range, but her 10.5 PRA, it's right there on the edge. But if she gets a boost against Phoenix, racks up some rebounds here, and gets it done scoring, I could definitely see that. But we know how first half props can be; they're volatile. But it's just an idea to throw out there if you're worried about the blowout for her and you still wanted access to her potential here going against Tarasi and others, poor defense. So what are your thoughts on that, and what are you going to do with Alyssa Thomas?
Yeah, I like that call with Courtney and the 4.5 rebounds there. Her home average for the season's just been right over 5. I think it's like 5.2. But she's been really great out on the floor. She gets really deep run in the first quarter and the first half. In particular, that first rotation with the starters. She's one of the last ones usually to check out. Super efficient. I wish that she would take a few more threes, especially in this matchup. That would be fantastic to see. But she could surprise us here and actually, drift a little bit further out in the top of the key whenever she goes for that normal sweet spot. And we've seen her, fire off a couple threes here and there. So I like the pace up matchup for Connecticut. They've actually slowed down their pace over the last month now. They've dropped in pace, but they've picked up in, as we've seen, created turnovers and just a efficient defensive rating. So I think there is definitely some risk for the blowout here today, just in general. But if you have a gut feeling for your risk tolerance in the first half props, I definitely wouldn't mind going back to that. But I think for her, she's productive enough and just being one at home, but two being able to fall into a couple extra missed 3 points, she could easily clear that 4.5 rebound. So I like that call for her. And for Alyssa Thomas, I like the 5.5 assists. I'm definitely there with you, just because she's had the ball in her hands so much as of late. Not only just from now stepping into what JJ was doing, but also just having rebounds and opportunity to create more assists and more plays for the team. We've seen that kind of correlate where she's, I mean, basically been averaging a double double there for quite some time for the season, but she's like pushing a triple double now in the last 2 weeks here, and we still don't know JJ's status. She could come back tonight and play 110% and just totally dwarf her team like she normally does, and that's always going to be kind of a risk for us in path A. But on what we've seen in the last 2 games now, she's been super passive, and
Mhm.
we've seen this also with last season flip the script there when Alyssa Thomas was coming back from her massive injury. She was a team leader, and we saw JJ had a career season, and she was leading the team coming off into that role. So we're seeing these two kind of go back and forth, and really until game footage shows us, or coach is going to come out and tell us beforehand, like, hey, Jonquil's fine tonight and she's going to be playing normal minutes. We really don't know. So there's a couple of extra layers in this game that we got to kind of think about and play into the back of your head if you're going to be creating cards for a full game scenario here. There's going to be some risk for these full game props, I think. For Alyssa Thomas, that might be a bit of a stretch going back to her full game rebound prop. But also at the end of the night, if we look back and she had 10 rebounds and you know, 15 plus points, that wouldn't surprise me either. I do like that you mentioned that hook shot. She's been really coming back strong with that, and for me personally, that's the aggressive Alyssa that I
Mhm.
love seeing because it makes her so much more unpredictable,
Mhm.
and also that has been creating some of these opportunities for the assist category, which we've seen. I mean, just totally wide open defenders or her teammates, and no defenders even close to her because they're pulling down and trying to double team her.
Mhm.
So I think it's still for that a low enough bar, and we get the pace up nod here for Connecticut to still attack some of these full game props. But I'd be a little wary about probably, I think, any of the other rebounding props that are pushing that high 8 marker.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I will say I went back and watched that most recent game on Sunday, the Connecticut Chicago game, and Jonquil would have only played 21 minutes again if the game did not go to overtime. She picked up additional like 3 or 4 minutes, and that's why she had 25 minutes. So if you look at a box score on her and you see, oh, she went from 21 to 25. Well, that's because she played in overtime. So if it didn't go over overtime, she would have finished again around 21 to 22 minutes. And she was getting blown by on defense. Chicago had at one point over 35 points in the first half, all in the paint. And a lot of
Hmm.
that was against her. She was just getting absolutely burned by Vandersloot on layups, by Copper on layups, even Quigley. So I think, I think it's not only just trying to get her up to conditioning. I think she's a liability right now, with her current state, that I think um, Connecticut, it's a big reason why they're holding her out a lot, because how much she is a liability on defense. Yeah, I think she's just either not fully conditioned or something else is going on that we're not aware of. Um, so yeah, I do, like you said, I do fear a monster game from her coming soon. It's just like brewing, and it's there. It's just a matter of when. So yeah, I'm with you on the rebounding. It is tempting because how bad Phoenix is, but at rebounding, but with Alyssa's 7.5 being so high, you have two factors. One, like you said, the blowout, and then two, there's so many mouths to feed in terms on the glass for Connecticut. We see Bonner have spike rebounding games. Brianna Jones can come in and have a lot of rebounds, and then JJ, if she steps it up, has can soak up the boards. Lot of solid rebounders on this team, and yeah, and especially if it doesn't get a full 4-quarter run, that even hurts that potential even more so. So I'm glad we talked that out. I'm probably just gonna stick with the 5.5 assists for Alyssa if I go with her props, and I still like Courtney's rebounds because of the, like you said, the 3-point. And then what are your thoughts on Bonner? I never get her right. It's she's so up and down with her scoring. When she's on, and she crushes her point prop, and this is a perfect spot for her to do that again today against this defense, like I already said.
Yeah, I had a little bit of interest for her just straight up points at 13 and a
Yeah,
half, but also her fantasy score. I think 26 and a half is fairly reasonable. And if she's especially still going to be grabbing all these, 2+ stocks almost every game, then it's been pretty well easy for her to get there. And she doesn't even need that crazy of a real point game. Last game, she was a rebound shy of a double double.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. She is racking up stocks, and she's eating on the glass as of late too. Probably due to JJ just not being 100% and not getting full run as well. Any others for Connecticut? And are you touching Brianna Jones or too risky with the uncertainties of JJ?
For Rihanna, just her real points. I think maybe we could go back there one more game, but just still waiting on really JJ to come back and start playing her normal thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, I feel like it's a solid list. It's good correlation. If you think the game's gonna stay somewhat close, if you want to do Alyssa's 5.5 assists and Bonner's points or fantasy, I think that goes well together. And then you can throw in Courtney's rebound too. Won't negatively correlate with any of those. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Before we do, just catch up with chat real quick, and we'll try to move at a decent pace because we're gonna need a decent amount of time to enter all these cards before all these games start at the same time. Emerson, let's go get that cash. Hey man, let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, what up, underrated? Let's get it. Today should be a good one. I think so. I think so. If we can avoid the potential blowouts, which I think about two or half of the games have high blowout risk, I think we'll be okay. Jay said, let's get it today. Yeah, let's do it, man. What up, Sean? Down to my last $15 bad beats. Need a perfect 5 flex. All right, we'll try to do that. We'll try to do that for sure by the end of this. Hey, what up, Obi? Afternoon. Let's get this bread today. Let's eat, man. And hope you enjoyed your weekend, Josh, and hope you're better. Eric. Hey, appreciate that, Obi. Thanks, man.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
what up, Cowboy? What up, man? And Jermaine. Good afternoon, fellas. Glad to see the whole team back. Let's get this cash. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm glad the team's back and Eric's doing better. Dylan, hey, what up, man? Hey, Io, how you doing, bro? JFZ. Wait, you have to get your cards in before lock? I know, right? I hope nice, man. Enjoy that. JT said NECA PRA is a taco. All right, I like that. I like that. I wanted a player, but all her lines were super juice. But now I think it's definitely consideration if we get a discount. Hey, what up, Jared? Let's get some money, boys. Yeah, let's do it. All right. So next game, man, this game. If you could, the some of the most inconsistent teams going at it, and both playing really bad as of late. The Liberty are 3-7 in the last 10 games. They did have that big win against Phoenix, like I said, to keep their hopes alive for the playoffs. So this is another big game for them. They could further themselves from Phoenix even more so here with this win and Phoenix losing. And then they're going against the winless Sparks without Liz. They have lost 3 straight since she has left. And yeah, they are 4-6 over the last 10 games. And now they don't have Tolliver again. And Lexi Brown is out still. And that's probably, besides Katie Lou, 2 of their only real outside perimeter shooters. On the season, they were already not taking many threes. They're dead last in 3-point attempts. And then now you take out Tolliver and you take out Lexi, and you only have Katie out there for perimeter shooting. They're going to have to get all their scoring done in the paint, which is what they've done pretty much second half of the season, a majority of the season, actually. I mean, they are first just ahead of Chicago in points scored in the paint. So they're going to get it all done in the paint because they have no outside threat whatsoever on the perimeter. So, yeah, there's going to be it's gonna be a battle within the paint. I feel like, which is probably gonna be a lot of fouls. Liberty, New York, they're okay at their interior defense, so nothing like super weak or some of the target or hone in on in the paint against them. But they do foul quite a bit. They are first in opponent free throws attempts allowed. So I expect, with LA having to rely on driving to the paint and getting it done inside, I feel like they're going to draw a lot of fouls against New York, who they tend to be foul happy here. So maybe we can look in some free throw props. But yeah, all these lines are pretty much the same for the backcourt and Brittany, Canada, and Katie. Their points, their assists, their rebounds, their PRA. I'm probably just gonna stay away from all of them. I don't like any of them in this matchup. And the ones I would probably consider are the sisters, Nneka and Shanae. Curious to see which ones you like the most besides the taco, the PRA for Nneka. I've been kind of debating whether Shanae's 9.5 points could be in play. I just worry about with her, it's just foul trouble. Can she stay out of early foul trouble, which tends to lead to less minutes overall. Even though she'll finish the game with like 3 or 4 fouls, she just loses out on key minutes early on. But I feel like the potential is there. It's a high risk, high reward play, especially for her points rebound. I think it's at 18.5, or PRA is at 18.5. I like that. And then her points at 9.5. It's very tempting. So I'm curious to see what you think about that. And then, yeah, I guess Nneka will just stick with the taco PRA. But if you didn't want to go with the taco, was there any other props you like for her, including her free throws? Like I mentioned with New York leading the league in shooting fouls, or her turnovers, or any other secondary props?
Yeah, you can definitely consider her free throw made. It's it's in that 3 marker, which seems to be her like invisible barrier that she just can't get past half the time. But there's so many hacks on New York side of things here. There's no way she's not at least taken 2, 3 trips to the line here. And I like that you mentioned the points in the paint there. I mean, the Sparks literally have nobody to shoot the long ball like whatsoever. And Katie's reasonable. She's definitely not a bad player, but in the grand scheme of the offense and how they're trying to set everything up, they're not trying to lean on her to be a distance, guard. She's a forward for the team. And so it's going to make things a little bit interesting to say the least, but they do funnel their offense really now more so through NECA and both his sisters there up front. So I think honestly, we're getting the taco for I think 24.5 for her PRA, but I think real points you can still go there as kind of a B option because she's just going to shoot an insane amount of times. And if they're winning, it'll be almost solely on the back of her. And we saw, oddly enough, this last game, she had a spike assist game too. She had like no rebounds almost that entire first half. And she had, I believe, 4 assists going into the first half there. So that was kind of weird. But she's facilitating a ton for the offense here. So I think honestly, a hidden gem for her is that 1.5 turnovers. Let me see, I'll bring up my notes here. She was, I believe, it was 11 of 14 road games that she cleared that 1.5. And most of that was still while Liz was with the team. And now, if she's going to have the ball in her hands even more, I know that New York is, bottom of the league in created turnovers. But if she's even going to be seeing a handful of Howard on the other side, she's going to hack for that ball. And she's been creating a ton of turnovers lately, too. So, maybe you could have some correlation for that, but I think that 1.5 turnovers is going to be a hidden gem for us today.
Yeah. Yeah, and with how aggressive she attacks the paint, she can definitely rack up some offensive charges too. Because a lot of teams will just try to form a wall and just block her from outside the paint, kind of like a Giannis defensive approach. And so there's potential, for offensive charges there. Yeah, it's definitely a low line. I'm with you. I wish it wasn't against New York, but it's definitely setting up with just how much ball handling, like you said, that she and how much they're leaning on her. I mean, pretty much the whole team is relying on her.
Yeah.
So you like props like that when a player is going to have to try to do it all. And yeah, it's definitely reflecting in her recent games since Liz has been gone. Minnesota, she had 1 turnover, but Minnesota is, I think, last in opponent turnover percentage, and then New York is right behind them. Yeah, I mean, if I had to rank it besides the taco being number 1, obviously, I would probably say the turnovers and then the free throws, because the free throws are, you're really relying on the refs, but the process is right with how much New York fouls. So I'd probably do that ranking with you on that. And then what's your thoughts on Janae? Are you too worried about her foul trouble?
There, I think there is a little bit of risk for foul trouble, and maybe we've seen that she's gotten into some early foul trouble now that just kind of knocking some of these cobwebs off for moving into the starter role now that she's definitely being asked a lot of her, and it's not like some of these games have been easy by any stretch. Like she's had a handful of reasonable opponents here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe the rebound prop finally coming back down a little bit. This could be a time that either we could hop on the real rebounds or even her fantasy score, because they did drop it back down from 27.5 the last game. But there, that first half foul trouble is really killed the momentum, and that being the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing is she started off so hot
Mm-hmm.
every single first half, and then
Mm-hmm.
she picks up that early second foul, and in the last couple of games it's been in the first quarter, or not even in the first quarter, in her first run before she
Mm-hmm.
even subs out. So that just really icing her for like the rest of that quarter, and I believe in one of those games the coach didn't even put her back in until
Yeah,
almost like it was like a minute and a half before the end of the half, and
yeah.
just
The
I
coach
mean,
holds her out. Yeah,
so I'm not sure what's going on with that, or maybe is there something that she just pissed coach off behind the
yeah,
scenes, and we're
yeah.
seeing that finally come on to the court now.
Or
Not
just trying
really
to
sure.
teach her, like, the young players, coaches will try to give them learning lessons and bench them and try to make it a lesson. So
Yeah, for sure. But she's got the skill set. She's very, very aggressive on the glass. And I think for this matchup and how bad New York is just in general in rebounding, because they're what, 11th or 12th now?
they're 8th in rebound percentage. It might be different for just defensive rebounding or offensive rebounding.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I was looking at that a little bit deeper.
yeah,
And I mean, there's definitely a ton of opportunity here for her. And if she can just stay out of that foul trouble, the coach we've seen will give her 30 plus minutes.
yeah. Okay, I would say it's more lukewarm, mid tier, just due to the foul trouble and being a young player. But yeah, I think it's again a high risk, high reward, because if she can stay out there, we've seen she can be super productive in limited time. Um, okay, was there any other sparks, or are you staying away from the other pieces?
Yeah, they're going to be mostly a fade for me.
Yeah,
Just I'm not really sure what kind of offense we're going to have them roll out tonight. And I mean, they struggled with Minnesota coming into their home, so I don't
yeah,
think this is going to be any easier.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's move to New York. I think we can have some favorable props to target here. Let's start with good old Sabrina, who's notorious for burning people as of late when you target her PRA or individual props. I was talking about this with Cade and some other crew members. Like, it just seems like something's up, and it's either one, she just has lost confidence towards this end of the season, or two, she just doesn't care anymore, and has just given up on the season. It might be a combination of both, to be honest. But she's definitely in a cold streak. You know, early on in the season and towards the halfway point, she was on a heater, serious heater, and taking 10 plus threes, super confident. And now, like, her 3-point attempts are down, her shooting percentage is down, even her rebounding went down, which is a really big indicator of effort and care. So I know it's risky, but they got her 3-point prop at 1.5. And the reason I bring this up is because the Sparks give up the second most threes, and a big reason for this is players like Canada and Katie Lou. Terrible, terrible perimeter defenders. They have a defensive rating of 105 and 106. It's just really, really bad. And yeah, Canada is no, I don't want Siri. Canada is really a culprit for all these threes made. They're just getting burned on the perimeter. If this was a game for Sabrina to clear a 3-point prop, I feel like this is the one, right? I mean, 1.5. This is the lowest we've seen it. It's always been around 2.5, even 3 when she was on a heater. She's averaging 2.3 in the season and taking around 6.8 3-point attempts. But like I said, her 3-point attempts have gone down as of late. They're around 5 or 6. But I think as long as she can take at least 6 threes or more, I would feel super confident that she clears this 1.5. But again, I just want to say that there is some risk to this, just due to her current state of mind and her overall play as of late. But it's a very low line, and everything is lining up for her in this matchup. So I want to see what you think about that. And then Natasha Howard, I think her turnover prop is going to be very popular among the community because she's a turnover machine. And we know Sykes can be scrappy. She can cause turnovers, and we know NECA and Chene can cause turnovers as well. The Sparks have the third highest opponent turnover percentage, so they're getting it done in the turnover department there. Yeah, they have Natasha back at 3. She's averaging 3.4 in the season, so I get it. And then another one I think for her would be interesting would be her 2 free throws. We know lately towards the end of the season she's been aggressive attacking the basket, drawing fouls, and we know Chene, like we said, will rack up fouls. But New York, they are as a team dead last in free throw attempts. They do not get to the free throw line, and a lot of that is because they chuck it from 3 so much. They are first in 3-point attempts. A big reason why they are last in free throw attempts. So there's some risk there, but I think if Natasha can be aggressive and attack at Shanae, she can definitely draw fouls here. Which one are you leaning for her, and are you down with Sabrina's 3-point prop?
Yeah, I love the 3-point prop today. I think that we see Sabrina get right and really show off for the home crowd here. She is, let's see. So Sparks allowing second most threes, and for Sabrina, she's hit in 9 out of the 15 home games. And one of the biggest things that I really wanted to hit on is the last time when these two teams played, she had Lexi on her for the majority of the game. And Lexi's a pretty good defender. You know, if you've ever seen her play, she's very scrappy. Can make things very difficult. And even still with that, Sabrina went 3 for 12 from beyond the arc. Now today we're gonna have Canada on Sabrina. Yeah, I think she's gonna come out, clear this prop in like before even half. She's gonna drop some serious points today, and maybe she's just tired. You know, she put a lot on her shoulder, and we've seen that she's just really been the majority of the team here for quite some time. And now we've had a couple of the players kind of step in. We've seen that Dolson, she's been scoring almost 10 plus points, real points a game for the last month almost. And now that Howard staying out of foul trouble, still turning it over quite a bit. So I love that 3 turnover call. Probably one of my other favorite plays. But her double rate, she's been crashing the glass over the last couple of weeks here. And some of that could be, you know, taken away from Sabrina's usage here because she's not needed so much. And maybe they're just working her down, giving her a little bit of a break here. But I do like her in front of the home crowd. I think that we're going to see probably Dolson and Hansu really take a backseat here and let some of the small ball work itself here for the team. I think one of the biggest question marks on New York side of things is probably Dangerfield right now. She had a spike real point game this last meeting or this last game for her, but we haven't seen her really do anything for almost a month now. So, these could be small kind of ticky tacky things that are playing into the big picture here. But if some of these guys aren't, or cast and characters aren't going to show up, and they're going to have to go back to Sabrina and Natasha to do this heavy lifting that we've seen them do in the past, then things are going to get right back on track tonight. And we're going to see high turnover game for both of them, but high usage. Teammates take a huge backseat, and assuming the game stays close, then New York will probably run a short rotation. They like to keep it at 7 to 8 players, and we'll probably see 30 to 33 minutes per starter.
Yeah, I think the one that we never know with their minutes is Rebecca Allen because of Johannes coming up the bench. If Johannes catches fire, Rebecca could lose out on minutes. But we talked about this last night. Rebecca's me and you always like her PRA potential, but with her it's just the minutes. But this matchup was setting up really nice for her. The rebound potential. The Sparks are third worst rebound percentage team. And she can rack up rebounds, and her 3-point potential. She's probably the second best 3-point shooter on the team. She's averaging 3.6 attempts and 1.2 made. If she can hit a couple threes, rack up some rebounds, and I think the 12.5 PRA is definitely a play. But again, it's the minutes. So, do you think it's too risky on a 4-game slate with her minutes?
Um, I think it's a low enough risk that we could definitely go there. I definitely wouldn't classify it as like a top or a high tier play by any means, but for just everything being set up here, and also Sparks giving up the 3 ball, she'll shoot it from there as well. So I think there's a lot of mid-tier options. Like, yeah, I know you said you just clicked on Dolson, her
Mm-hmm. You
half
called
of
that out, yeah.
yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential plays, and honestly, if the game does stay close, I could see a lot of these props, if not almost all of them, being a smash for us tonight.
Yep.
But you got some risk there. There's definitely going to be some risk.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so for Natasha, I think we carved out a lot of potential props for her. If you had to rank order her props, is the 3 turnovers number 1 for you for her?
I think so, honestly, just with her being so involved on the glass, she's just
Okay.
having the ball in her hands way more.
Okay. And then would number 2 be her rebounding or her free throw made or 2 free throw made?
I think the free throw, we haven't seen her at 2 free throws in like almost a month now,
Yeah.
and they had that at like 3.5 for a hot minute.
Yeah. You got to imagine she's going to get rack up fouls on Shanae. So, and even Olivia when she checks in.
Definitely.
So yeah, I like that. I think that has a real high potential pushing, and the turnovers has a high potential of pushing at the very least as well. So I think getting exposure to both of them, if you're doing multiple cards, makes sense totally. Okay, any other props for New York, or you want to move on to the next one?
No, I think honestly that's gonna be about it. They always like to dangle a ton of props in front of us. They always have 6 props.
Yeah. All right. We'll we'll go to this one. Then we'll catch up with chat, and then we'll bang out the last one. So this one. We have Vegas at Washington. Vegas are 3.5-point favorites, 165 point total. It's going to be streamed for free and live on Facebook if you want to watch it. Again, this starts at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. These two teams have played twice. The first matchup was really early in the season, and Cloud didn't play. Washington was running a completely different unit. They didn't have Austin and Clark starting out there. But the second game, both units were the exact units that are going to run today, and it was a great game. Went to overtime. It was in Vegas. It was back and forth, and I loved watching Cloud and Plum go at it. You could just tell they were trying to exert their dominance on who's the point guard of the WNBA at this current time, and it was really fun. Both played really well. Cloud had 14 points and 10 assists. or 16 points and 10 assists. She got a lot of her points from the charity strike, especially at the end, towards the end of the fourth quarter and overtime. Hamby was racking up fouls. Asia was too, and Cloud was being aggressive attacking. But yeah, I think well, yes, starting. I guess we'll start with the away team like we always do with Vegas. It's a massive pace down spot for them. Washington is dead last in pace, while Vegas is first. Now they're probably going to cancel each other out and bring it to probably a normal median there in pace, but being a pace down spot, and Washington being one of the best defenses, they're first in defensive rating. They allow the second least amount of points in the paint. They don't really foul that much. Third least amount of free throw attempts allowed. I think it's gonna be a tough task for Vegas, but Washington played a ton of games as of late. They had a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday, and they played on Thursday, so there's like 3 games out of 4 days or something like that. Vegas played a lot of games too over the weekend, but I don't think they played as many as that and had a back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken. And we know Donnie the vet, they like to rest her. There is potential that Washington comes out flat, but they are playing at home, so maybe that's somewhat of a boost to negate that. But yeah, I think Vegas. If Washington didn't play that many games over the weekend, maybe the spread would have leaned more towards Washington in this matchup. But yeah, there is some energy and rest issues to consider for Washington. But with how stout their defense is in the interior, this can make things difficult for Asia. She had a really tough time in both matchups, and especially that second matchup. Even in overtime, she did not clear her point prop, but she killed it on the glass. And we noticed with her, she gets a lot of her big spike rebound games and pace down spots against teams that like to run a slow half court offense and like to attack the paint because they lead to short rebounds and more set offenses where when they play teams like Indiana, who are second in pace and likes to run a fast pace and chuck it, Asia kind of, lets the guards like Jackie and Chelsea and even Hamby get the rebound and to set the offense and get moving and going. But with these slower pace half court matchups, the rebound potential is sky high for Asia. We've seen her crush it. And they opened her at 8.5, and now they put her back at 9. We saw this happen when they played Chicago, and they opened her at 8.5, and then the next day they put her back at 9, and then she finished with 14 rebounds. I think she had 14 rebounds in that overtime game. Yeah, I see the same thing. 10 plus rebound potential for her. I love it. I like it a lot. And then the only other one that kind of stood out to me, I would probably say either Plum's 0.5 block steal, because we know Cloud is a turnover machine and will just hand out freebies. And then also Plum's 2.5 turnovers. Washington being a very stout defense, and Plum has just been careless with the ball lately towards this latter half of the season. And definitely has potential to turn it over here against one of the best defenses in the league that's playing at home. She finished with 2 turnovers in that overtime game, but that was in Vegas. I think, there's definitely potential for her to get that, but she also had 6 stocks in that game. And a big reason is because of Cloud, like I said. So I think either of those low lines for her could be in play. I'm nervous taking any of her other props in this type of a game environment, pace down and a good defense. What are your thoughts on her? And is there anyone standing out for Vegas for you?
Yeah, there's I think a couple of really good plays for us tonight on Vegas side of things. I'm just bringing them up here real fast. 0.5 steals. I think obviously it's a fringe play, but a pretty high upside here to hit between her or on the opposite side of Cloud, and even some of the other casts that come off the bench. They've been a little loose with the ball there. So I like that call. Honestly, I don't know. I think we could go with the turnover props. The turnover props look pretty good on both sides here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just pace up spot for Washington. I mean, basically polar opposites. We got what, first and 12th going at it here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Looking at some of the front court for Vegas here, both Hamby and Asia really struggle in this matchup.
Mhm.
Both of them this season. Asia had 4 turnovers in both meetings, and Hamby had 3 and 2. And one thing I was just going to point out for Asia in the last 3 seasons, every at Washington game, she's gone over this 1.5 turnover marker. So it's something that's definitely there. And in between Donnie and now Shakira being an offense, she's got a lot of stock upside. And also Atkins, there's a lot of hands that are going to get involved here. And we saw that. I think that Asia definitely the rebounds, even with a bump, she really gets up for these meetings here. And if you check the log for that previous game too, even Hamby, she still ended up with 9 and 8 rebounds. So there's just like an absurd amount that go around in this game, and a lot of opportunities to turn the ball back over. So I think we attack a lot of these turnover, just low bar props here. And for Vegas, I like the Asia rebound call. I think that or the turnover is probably one of my favorite plays today.
Yeah, you can get exposure to both just to hedge your bets in case, she doesn't get it done on the glass for whatever reason. I like that. Yeah, I mean that Donnie gave her a lot of problems. I mean, she was just straight up blocking her, and she looked distraught. Asia did, in that game. So, which means, could lead to turnovers if she's playing hesitant, with Donnie out there. Well, it's just, I guess, the main thing is Donnie gonna play full run, and is she gonna be 100% ready to go playing on a back to back? So
Yeah,
I think so. She's been rested all season. I don't see why not.
yeah, I think we get a good game here. Every time these teams or these two teams have come to play, like they really come to battle, and we pretty much get almost four full quarters of play from the two sides.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anybody else besides Asia and Plum that you were interested in? Any other individual props?
Honestly, not too much. We know that Vegas is a very home road split team, and outside of really Asia and Plum, I don't have any confidence.
Yeah, and they jacked up Jackie's rebound to 5.5 finally, living at
Yeah,
4.5, but she's been crushing it. But I think that's due to the matchups as of late. Fast-paced teams, 3-point shooting teams. Big reason why she's been killing it on the glass. I like her rebound potential here less so in this matchup. Okay, we can move to Washington. I think there's a lot to like here because, like we said, this is a huge pace up spot for them, being dead last in pace, and now they're going against the fastest first team in pace in Vegas. So I think the three bigs primary players are all in play. It's just a matter of how you combine them in a card. If you want to go with one in one card and one in the other, or if you want to do a pairing of Cloud's assists with either Atkins or Donnie scoring potential, totally makes sense. I think card construction is going to be key with them because I think all three have really high potential in this pace up spot. Like I said, Cloud dominated that last matchup, 16 points, 10 assists. I'm really wrestling between her 7.5 assist prop and her 17.5 points assist. I think she can get it done scoring wise. Because of how many threes Vegas gives up. They give their first and 3-point made. So they're allowing the most threes in the league. And we know that Cloud can get hot from three. She can hit her outside shots. She takes around 4 threes a game and makes about 1.3 on average. So she hits a couple threes, and then she's going to attack the basket. And she's going to get to the foul line. She could clear that 10 points too. Or if you just want to incorporate the assists as well, the 17.5 points assists are in play. Just in case that some chance that she hooks at 7 assists, but gets over 10 points, you kind of cover your basis with both and clear that 17.5 points assists. Kind of my thinking there. But I love her assist prop just because it opens the door for pairing with either Atkins or Donnie scoring potential. And Donnie, I think, if you watched her as of late over the last 10 games, her 3-point shooting has just been phenomenal. And a big reason why she's been killing her point props. She's been shooting super efficient from three, and this is one of the best 3-point environments you could ask for. I mean, with Vegas giving them up the most threes, I could see her clearing that 1.5 threes, no problem. But I think Atkins definitely can be considered here. Her lines are pretty low relative for her potential and being at home in a pace-up spot. I think we all liked her PRA potential here. She's been crashing the glass, and we know Vegas is going to take a lot of threes, so rebound potential is there for her. And then you mentioned you liked her fantasy prop at 24.5 as well. She can rack up some stocks and get some assists too, so that totally makes sense. Is that where you stand on Atkins? How would you rank Atkins versus Donnie and Cloud, and how would you pair them together?
Yeah, I like the assist call. 'Cause I mean, honestly, that just goes along with pretty much any of the other options that are going to lead in scoring. Um, Donnie, I was really early. I think early on this morning, I was really just neck and neck with Donnie and Atkins, but Donnie just really relied off of a lot of her stocks, man. There's no way I don't think she's going to get 5 stocks again this game. And she could probably end up with, like 2 here, but a lot of her points just seemed like she was right at that 19 marker.
Mm-hmm.
And the rebounds, I think it probably could be in play for us, but I don't know if I want to just attack that outright as a rebounding prop. So I think for her, points and rebounds is probably going to be the best way to go, just to get a bit of best of both worlds there. Um, she doesn't get enough in the assist category, I think, for me to want that extra jump for the PRA. And her fantasy score is pretty juiced right now.
How do you feel about her 1.5 threes?
I
Enough
think it's
volume for you?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it at great length for a lot of teams that go up against Vegas. You just pretty much end up being in this desperation mode where you have to just start chucking it from three. And Donnie, she's been hitting at least 1 3 in every opening half for several games now. So if she can just find that other three for us, I mean, that's a super low prop line.
Yes, I mean that last meeting, um, she took 6 threes. I don't believe she took one in overtime. I think that she got that done in regulation. She was 2 of 6. If she can take 5 plus 3 in this game, I feel pretty confident she hits 2.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I wish they would have given us Atkins at that 1.5
Oh,
marker.
man. I know because they over the weekend and lately they had Atkins at 1.5 threes. I was waiting for that prop, and I just knew they were going to put it at 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of Atkins, are you sticking with her fantasy, or is there any other line you like?
I know that I'm we've been debating that kind of back and forth behind the
Mhm.
scenes there, but just if we like, honestly, if we like these turnover props from Vegas, you got to go after some of these fantasy on the other side here. In the 2 meetings, at least this season, Atkins, she had 3 stocks and 4 stocks in the other game, but still ended up with a pretty moderate score. She had 13, 14 points and I believe 4 or 5 rebounds and a couple of extra stats here and there. And just with having such a huge pace up here in general, plus all the potential turnovers between Kelsey or between Plum and Gray, she could fall into easily 2 stocks here and pad that score. But one thing that I really liked for her is for the home game so far this season for Atkins, she's cleared this current prop line in 11 of 15 home games, cleared, smashed in both of the Vegas games, and in the last 3 seasons, she's actually, I believe, only missed in 1 game. So she's got good history here too, and it's going to be at home.
I'm with you 100%. The rebound potential is totally there in this pace up spot. More shots going up. The stock potential as a result too. And we know Plum's going to turn it over, and Chelsea Gray's going to turn it over. And an assist potential too. With just due to the pace and all the shots are going to be going up, especially from the 3-point line. I love it. And I think I think you could still pair it with Cloud's assist too. I obviously I wouldn't play all in the same card, Cloud, Atkins, and Donnie. But I definitely like the pairing of Cloud's assist with Atkins fantasy. And also you can just play Atkins naked too, just on by yourself on one card. And I think the potential is totally there for her in this game environment. And it's a big game, so they're Washington is third in the East in the playoff seeding, so they're fighting to move up in seeding, and I believe Chicago is 3 games ahead right now and in first place, and we'll get to them in the last game. But yeah, Chicago's trying to hold on the last 6 games in that first place seeding, being 3 games ahead. So Washington still has a fine chance to move up, and hopefully this game can turn out like the last game because it was a great game. I went back and watched it last night. It was an awesome game. So I like those a lot. Probably those 2, Clouds assist and Atkins fantasy, and parent, and then probably get some exposure with Asia Wilson's rebounder turnovers. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Any others on Washington? Clark and Austin are such a headache for me, so I'm probably gonna fade.
Yeah, we got too many options tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried about that.
Okay. All right. We can move to the last game. Let's catch up with some chat real quick. Oh, yeah. We got the bod. What's up? Let's see. MLB Goat said, I love Sabrina's assist. I see a triple dub tonight. Man, Sabrina always feels good. But then at the end of the night, you're left hanging. Chatoa said Enrique at 3.5 rebounds. Okay, well look at that. Chatoa right coming up right now. JT said Pippi long stocking Sabrina assist. The Diggins, Matt said the Diggins injection first of the year and possibly first of career was totally absurd. All she did was sprint up. Then she was clapping during free throws for second tech. Crazy. Yeah. These refs sometimes. Yeah. Patel said Dawson's 0.53s looks like a good mid-tier play. Yeah. She's going to take about 3 to 4 threes. So, and yeah, Sparks give up the second most threes. Jay Feezy said, been hearing about Hamby rebounds. Oh man, Hamby. She's a frustrating player. It's just about motivation with her, and then also just losing out to dominant players on her team. Cowboy said, I don't think Asia had cleared her PR at either time versus Washington this year. Totally makes sense. I mean, Washington is the best front court defense, so, and best defense overall. All right, what's up, bot? All right, let's go. All right, last game on the docket. Starts 2 hours after the first 3 games, 9 p.m. Eastern, 167-point total. I believe it's the highest total on the slate, if not tied. And it's Dallas at Chicago. We saw these 2 teams play recently over the last, I think, 2 weeks ago. I'm going to make a disclaimer. I hate Dallas games. I hate targeting games that Dallas is involved in. You have Jay Crowder Thornton, and then you have Mabry, 2 players that are just like either they're getting you rock bottom 2 points or they're getting massive ceiling game out of nowhere. Total landmines. Dallas is super inconsistent, especially on the road. And Candace is back. Don't know how many minutes she's going to play. She's missed the last 2 or 3 games with some illness, non-COVID related. Back in Chicago, like I said, they're fighting to maintain that first place seed, 3 games ahead and 6 games remaining. I don't like this game. I don't like it at all. I wish Mabry's props were higher. They dropped to season low, 9.5 points. I've been taking the under on her every time, and it's been coming through because she's just, oh man, she's just really bad. But she can have these random spike games where she scores like 25 points. Those props now being so low, I'm probably gonna stay away from her. I will say the only thing, and Eric, we both talked about this and agreed on this. And I was waiting for her props to drop last night. Only thing I could get on is McCowan's points, just because of, even with Candace playing, how bad Chicago has been, and in the interior, and they're second in points allowed in the paint. But they've really juiced it up to 13, 13 and a half. I think it was at 13 and a half last game too. But yeah, it's just been slowly creeping up, 11 and a half, 12 and a half. Now it's at 13 and a half. If I guess my question is, I have to go back and look at the game logs of since she's been playing more minutes and starting. If this game goes sideways and it's a blowout by the third quarter, how many minutes does McCowan lose out on? Are they trying to develop her? Will she stay out and earn a little more run, even in a lopsided game? And with that said, is it too risky to go for her point prop? The ceiling is very high for her, but it just scares me with the potential blowout. I haven't looked at the spread now that Candace has been ruled in.
No, honestly, coach has been pretty adamant about still developing McCowan here,
Okay.
even in any kind of blowout situation. We'll take last game for example. You know, they lost 68 or they won or whichever. It was almost a 20-point spread in the game, and a lot of the I guess production she's been missing out on has really just been in foul trouble. And some of that, even we've seen her check back in pretty deep into the fourth quarter in pretty much unwinnable games. And she's still playing 27, 28 minutes a night and being very productive. You know, she drives to the lane a ton. She's terrible at free throws. Yeah, I think if there's one thing that's really, really holding her back is she's just so bad at free throw percentage and the volume is there, which is crazy. But if she can step up in that, I think honestly, this 13 and a half real points is way too low for her. And as you mentioned, Chicago's just bleeding points inside the paint. And for a majority of these games, once McGowan starts getting hot, they almost exclusively will funnel to her until she either picks up another foul or she turns the ball over. I think twice has been kind of their breaking point because she's gone out there and turned the ball over, and they'll continue to still feed her throughout that stretch or until she checks out for this backup. But they're trying to develop her, so I would expect her to play at least another, I would say minimum 26, 27 minutes again tonight.
Yeah, you brought up a good point with her fouls. I mean, in one of the meetings 2 weeks ago, she had 5 fouls and lost out on key minutes and only had 22 minutes and still finished with 12 points. The other game after that, she against Chicago, she had her normal run. Oh no, she did not. She had 18 minutes. 3 but she only had 3 fouls. So what happened here? 9 points. She had 2 early fouls in the first quarter.
Yeah, I remember that. She sat early.
This doesn't look right though. This chart does not look like 18 minutes of playing time, right?
That's a lot of filled in square.
Let me check the box score. Yeah, 19 minutes. Okay. I don't know why she lost out on minutes here. She did absolutely nothing in the third quarter. Not
Yeah,
much.
not really sure what happened with that.
It's like the second half she just disappeared. She didn't recorded 0 stats in third quarter, had 1 shot attempt in the fourth and 1 assist, and then a foul. So I maybe I don't know. She just mentally checked out.
I don't know because I remember I actually had played her that game because she went 1 from 6 or 2 from 6, something like that in the first half, and then barely missed out on her first half prop because I had that. It was at 5.5, I think, and she just needed a bucket. And then her full game prop was at, I believe, 10.5, and she came back in and just put up that 1 shot, and that was it. So frustrating.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it's a bounce back game for her. I'm with you. I mean, it sets up nice for her against Chicago. I don't know. Maybe that was just a weird game for her. I didn't catch that game, so But yeah, the other game, she was 7 to 10, much more efficient in 20
Yeah,
minutes.
and she's been their road warrior too. So I like this going back into Chicago.
Yeah, and Chicago had their full team besides Vandersloot in that game. So okay, is that it for Dallas? I'm staying away from everyone else.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much love for Dallas here. They always scare me on the road. Well, I will say, Arike, and I know somebody brought this up in chat, but
Yeah,
Arike's 3.5 rebounds, I think, is she's playing a different game right now, and unless there's some real, was it ankle or some injury that
yeah.
she had?
She hurt in the fourth quarter of the last game. Yeah, I have no idea how bad it is, but yeah, it held props back until she was announced probable.
Yeah, but she still ended up playing like 38 minutes or something
Mhm.
absurd. And somebody had brought up a stat too in the last 7 of 8 games or something crazy. She's played like 34 plus minutes. So she's playing an insane amount of minutes right now. And even though this might be a fairly unwinnable one for them, I think that at least that 3.5 rebounds is definitely in play for us.
Okay. Is that just the thinking that just due to how many minutes she's going to be out there?
Yeah, in large part, I think the minutes, but something also, she's cleared in one, two, three, four, five. She's cleared in the last 6 of 6 road games, so
Okay.
could be kind of a streaky thing. Maybe it's
Mhm.
something for that month, but it's at least a trend.
Okay. All right, and then Chicago. We made Copper the cover girl, thinking that Candace would sit again because she wouldn't be needed in this matchup, and how well Chicago's been playing without her. Anyway, they went into Connecticut and won without her. Um, but Candace is back. We don't know how many minutes she's going to play. Potential lopsided game. Do we still like Copper?
Maybe not as high of a priority. They did say that Parker would be back starting with no restrictions, so take
Okay.
that for
Well,
what you will.
yeah, because I mean, all her lines are juiced. Um, since this hot streak she's been on with Candace out.
Yeah. If Candace is gonna be limited in any way, then maybe, but the whole team props are coming off of a high right now. And it looks like they didn't really even adjust Parker since before when she went out.
Mm-hmm.
Hers just kind
Mm-hmm.
of looks reposted.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's a good point. Who knows? Maybe the rest it did wonders for her. We've seen that with Donnie. Donnie being a vet, and when she comes back from rest, she just crushes it because sometimes the rest really helps them. Or she just comes out flat and doesn't really care because it's Dallas and they get a big lead and she just like doesn't play in the fourth quarter. That's one possible range of outcome. So I'll probably just stay away from her. And I guess we should talk about people have brought up on Discord Emma's 3.5 assists because the last 2 games against Dallas, she had spike assist games. She had 9 in one game, and she had 7 in the other. What's your thoughts on that? I want to go back and look at the video box score on each one. I want to see what's going on. If it's something like the way the defense is attacking her and how she's finding people open, or is it just random by chance? Small sample size, 2 games to go off of.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if that was just spike for just happen or
And
what.
Vandersloot wasn't in both of those games. Just to point that out.
Oh, yeah, that could be a huge thing then. I mean, we've seen between Vandersloot, Parker, and who's the other one? I mean, mostly just Vandersloot and Parker. Whenever they're out, Emma is one of the immediate, directly impacted people from that. So if that's the case, I would probably say probably not. I wouldn't have any kind of confidence going back there with Candace coming back. If anything, you could probably even consider just going for Candace's PRA here, if you think that she's going to be maybe a little bit more involved in facilitating.
Yeah, yeah, and then maybe even Emma's just points because Dallas, we know, is right behind Chicago, and they are third in points allowed in the paint. And yeah, Emma can get it done. I mean, majority of her scoring comes in the paint, as we know. 65% of her points come from the paint. She scores about 8.1 points per game in the paint. I would feel a little bit better about that, even though I know Candace is back, but maybe Candace makes it a little more easier for her. Even with Candace playing, she had 23 points in that game. And then in the other game, she had 13 points with Candace playing too against Dallas. They dropped it down to her points down to 11.5. But I think I kind of made a new rule with Chicago going forward to the end of the season. I'm not touching anybody unless it's Copper in a favorable matchup, competitive matchup. I like Copper in a competitive matchup because she thrives off of that, her energy and her tenacity. She just gets at it. But this is setting up to not be a competitive matchup, so I'm probably just staying away. But I'm curious to see if you have any key props for Chicago.
Honestly, not too many here. Sorry, couldn't tell if that was my screen refreshing or if that was you. Um, Honestly, no. I mean, all of Chicago props are probably, I would say, about a point and a half too high right now. I mean, just looking at Azura, for example, her PRA was just at like 12 something the other day, and it's already up to 15 and a half.
And
So,
Candace is back. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, honestly, if we were at the end of tonight and we look back and all of Chicago smashed their props, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
But we're talking about the entire team's props are juiced. Probably, I would say 3 weeks at a high right now. Plus, you have injuries coming back on Chicago side of things. You know, I say injuries, but there's still going to be some question marks there, and you're asking for 4 quarters of full play here on top of all that. You know, that's a lot working against our favor here.
I agree. The odds are definitely against it. That happening. Totally with you. So since we have 4 games to work with, I mean, if this was like the only game, obviously we would mine some props out of this, but we're working with 4 games. So now it is the late game. So if you're trying to tilt bet and trying to do one card on this game, we can try to hash that out later. But just for getting cards entered for the 3 games starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, probably just gonna stay away for the most part and maybe consider some Cowan points, like we said.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do our team card and we can get out of here. It'll give us a full hour. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need some time.
Yeah.
Just and we don't know also what additional props that they might drop on us too.
Yeah. They like to drop those late ones, around an hour before lock. So keep an eye out for that for sure. All right, I'll just start off with Taurasi's turnovers. I think we both like it. Just gonna go with it for our team card.
Okay, I like it. Let's go. I gotta go with my gut call on Sabrina 1.5 threes made.
I like that as well. Okay, and let's go with Asia's. I'll let you choose between her turnover and rebound. But let's go. What if we do a 5 flex here and we do like Cloud, assist, and Atkins fantasy, and then either Asia's rebound or turnover?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with Asia rebound.
Or we can just run Atkins naked. And so that way we can add another piece if we wanted. Was there another piece that we really liked that we're leaving out that we both were really keen on? Let's double check.
In general or from Washington?
In general, from the entire slate. I'm trying to make sure we're just not leaving one out by double dipping on Washington. I guess it'd be a Connecticut player if we wanted to risk the potential blowout.
Yeah, that's a tough call.
I feel really confident in this Vegas Washington game, so I'm okay. If you're okay with it, I'm okay double dipping in Washington and then taking like 3 props from that game total.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the most competitive game we get.
I agree. As long as Washington doesn't come out flat if they're tired, but hopefully being at home can help them. Okay, I like that. If you want, you can just, like I said, you can run Atkins naked and take Cloud's assist out, and you could throw in a Connecticut prop or Natasha Howard's turnovers or something like that.
Yeah.
Or just throw in the taco too, Neca's taco. Would be smart to throw in a taco for a 5 flex. But yeah, I think all those pretty confident on core plays. Definitely the top 4 for sure. These 4. Definitely gonna enter that card. Okay. All right. We will be back. Are you around tomorrow, Eric?
Yeah, I should be good to go.
Is it
this
3
week.
games?
It's either 3 or 2. 3. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh, and we got like a late night hammer too, so that's good. Spread out from the first games. All right, yeah, so we'll be back for that. And then Eric dropped a video today. He's been missing out on his channel because like I said, he's been dealing with the illness. Definitely check out his videos. Eric, you want to tell them where they can find you at? I have the link in the description below too.
Yeah, I think so. I need to double check and see if that's working. But you can find me at Eric's Prop Stop. And like you said, I got a video up earlier today. Real fast, just looking at our schedule for tomorrow. So the Sparks and New York today are on the front end of a back-and-back.
Oh,
they play tomorrow.
They play again tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah. So just a little heads up there. I just saw that.
That would be fun.
And
Okay.
they're the first game today, or one of the first ones. Man,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting.
Must-win games, both of them. So they should go all out no matter what. Well, that's a good call out. Okay, and we'll try to wrap up the season. We're gonna try to switch up and do some live streams on Eric's channel as well, so people can get exposure to it and check out his channel. So we'll try to set him up on that. Still working on getting that live stream set up, but we'll just share the link in our social media avenues, no matter what platform it's on. But keep an eye out for that. Probably shoot for 5 p.m. Eastern start time tomorrow, since it's only 3 games. Normal 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. But catching up with chat real quick. Love chat. Glad you guys are having fun, man. Yeah, I love these bots. All right, guys. Good luck. We're gonna drop our rankings. I think Eric will have his rankings. Cade and Aguida will have their rankings. The whole crew will have all the rankings. Keep an eye out for theirs on their social media and on our Discord. And then I'll drop just our overall team rankings on Discord and on Twitter as well. I'll try to do that within the next 20 or so minutes, so give us enough time. But yeah, all right, guys. Good luck. Get that bread. Peace.
Peace.
Let's fucking go. We about to go big. Kill him if the prize pig. Let's fucking go. We going out blazing.
Let's get hunting.
This is population. About to go big. Kill him if the prize pig. About to go big. Kill him if the prize pig. 24/7. 24/7 researching, it's all a fantasy. But if it makes the right plays, it pays automatically. Bankroll showing that I know it dope strategy. On a winning streak, I'm stacking a dose of the bookies, all get mad at me. Confident with power plays, not clicking on a flex today. 10 times the money, and we all about to get paid. Eric and Josh on the stream, they be killing it. Never gonna stop it, I like if you feeling it. Digging the players, they all know what time you can't make up your mind and just go with your gut. Fantasizing Sasha Cloud, Gabby Williams said watch your mouth. They 1 and they 2, I play the over, they come through. Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum, pick them both, we stacking them. Going big to the maximum, just push them in, we cashing them. Let's fucking go, we about to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. Let's fucking go, we going out blazing. This is population. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. About to go big. Kill him with the PrizePicks. We about to go big.
This is the game.
We going out blazing.
Let's get hunting.
This is population.